Okay, so again, good morning everyone. Today we're going to discuss the third week of our module for this quarter, and this is all about angle of elevation and angle of depression, okay? For this module, we will have to illustrate angles of elevation and depression, okay? Now, when we say angle of elevation, from the word itself, angle of elevation, okay? This is an angle from the horizontal to the line of sight of the observer to the object above it. Okay? From the word elevation, pababaw siya. Okay? So from the line of sight, which is your horizontal, the angle of elevation is from here going above. Okay? Your line of sight. Now when you say depression, of course from the word itself, depression, down. Okay? So it's the angle that it makes from the line of sight and down. That is your angle of depression. Now say for example, this is you. Okay, this is your line of sight. Okay, the angle of elevation is from here above. Okay, this is your angle of elevation. Now the angle of depression is the angle that it makes from the line of sight down. Okay, this is the angle of depression. Okay, this is elevation. Okay, now please do remember that the horizontal line here is your line of sight. Okay, now the line of sight, it is the imaginary line that connects the eye of the observer to the object being observed. Now let's take a look at the example here. Okay. So say for example, you are in, okay, so for example, you are here in a parachute, okay? So for example, Raisa is here in a parachute, okay? Now, Raisa's line of sight is this, okay? So this is what we call our line of sight, okay? Now, the angle of depression is again the angle that it makes from the horizontal and below, okay? So this is our angle of, okay. By the way, we can determine the angle of elevation from the line of sight going to the object that you are observing. So say for example, from the parachute here, Raisa is here, she was looking at the tree below, okay? So we are to determine the angle from Raisa going to this tree. Okay? Now, this is our angle of depression. Okay? This is angle of depression. This is from Raisa's line of sight going to the tree. Now remember also this is our horizontal because this is the ground. Okay? Now, we can say that the angle of elevation is this one. Okay? This is our angle of elevation. Now again, please do remember the angle of elevation and depression are the angles made together with the horizontal or your line of sight. Okay? Now as you can see, this is our angle of depression and angle of elevation. What can you say about the two angles? What can you realize? Say. Yes, that's right. What can you say about the measures of the two angles? They are? Equal. Very good. Because as you can see here, if you're going to review the parallel lines cut by transversal, we have angles that we call alternate interior angles. Okay? So the relationship of angle of depression and elevation here is like the alternate interior angle. So they are said to be congruent. Okay? Alright. Now, how to solve? How do we solve the angles of depression and angles of elevation? So the first step, of course, when you are given a problem, you have to sketch. Okay? You have to sketch it for better illustration. For me, that's not really necessary, but for you or for students or for better comprehension of the said problem, it is advised for you to sketch it. Okay? Because once you actually draw or you sketch the said problem, you will be able to determine. Much better for you to picture it out. Okay? Next, second thing is you mark the given angle of elevation or depression. And then the second thing is that you have to use the trigonometry to find the required missing length. So what are our trigonometry? It can be sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, secant, and cosecant. So this is where we're going to apply our knowledge on those trigonometric ratios. Okay? Now, let's have this example. You are standing 20 feet away from a tree. Okay? You are standing 20 feet away from a tree. Now, we can say that this is the tree, this is you. Okay? You are standing here 20 feet away from the tree. Yes? Okay. Now, you measure the angle of elevation to be 38 degrees. Okay? You measure that the angle of elevation from you going to the top of the tree is 38 degrees. Okay? The question is, how tall is the tree? Okay? So how tall is the tree? This is what we're going to solve. This is x. Okay? Now, let's take a look at our figure. If we draw this in a triangle, we can say that this is our right angle here. This is the tree. Okay? This is our angle, 38 degrees. And this is our adjacent side. Okay? Now, given that we have the theta or the angle and the adjacent side, we are looking for the opposite side, right? Opposite of the 38-degree angle. So, what trigonometric ratio can we use to solve for the height of the tree? Tangent, cotangent, sine, cosine. We have the adjacent side and we are looking for the opposite side. So how or what ratio should we use? Cotangent, yes, pwede. Okay. So if we're going to use cotangent, this will be cotangent 38 is equal to, cotangent is adjacent over opposite. Right? But when solving for angles of elevation, we are much more advised to use the three basic. It's either sine, cosine, or tangent. Okay? This is the three basic trigonometric function. Now, instead of using cotangent, what can we use? Tangent. Okay, so tangent here is equal to, again, tangent theta is equal to opposite over adjacent, right? Now, our theta here is 38 degrees. Okay? Theta is equal to 38 degrees. Adjacent is 20. And our opposite is missing. Okay? So we can say tangent 38 is equal to opposite, which is x, over the adjacent side, which is 20. Now, to solve for x, of course, you have to cross multiply. Now, we have x is equal to 20 times tangent 38 degrees. Okay? Now, on your calculator, you just click scientific calculator. Okay? Again, as I advised you last time, you have to have a scientific calculator. Okay? So, tangent 38 degrees times 20, that is equal to, tangent 38 degrees times 20. That is negative. Tangent 38 times 20. Let me see. No, you have to get, yes, tangent 38. 38. Okay, tangent 38. Tangent
Times na dyan.
38
6.20.
equals 0.78 multiplied by 20. That is 15.62. Round off the nearest hundreds. 62 or 63? 62. What's next the 2? 5, right? So it can be 15.63. Okay, so we can say that approximately, because we have long decimal digits, right? So we can say approximate length or height of the tree is 15.63 feet. Okay? Please don't forget the unit of measure. Okay? So again, approximately x is 15.63, then that is the height of the tree. Okay? The follow? When you solve using your calculator, you have to solve for the tangent first. Tangent 38 degrees. What is that? Equals, and then that's when you multiply to 20. Okay? You should not include the 20 in the parentheses because that's a different value. Okay? Or you can also write it in your calculator, 20 tangent 38. Can you try? 20 tangent 38. The same value?
Roger.
Yes. Okay. So you get the same value, right? That's how you solve using your scientific calculator. Okay? If your cell phone has scientific calculator, you can use that for the meantime. Alright? Okay? Now let's have another example. Ready? Ready? I want everyone to solve on your pen and paper. Okay? Next example. You are standing on top of a building, looking at the park in the distance. Okay? So for that, you are standing on top of the building. You draw a building, and then you draw yourself up there. Okay? Now you are looking at the park at a distance. So that means you're looking below. Okay? The angle of depression is 53 degrees. Okay? If the building you are standing is 100 feet, the building is 100 feet tall, how far is the park? How far is the park? Okay. Now I want somebody to draw the illustration on the board. Can someone draw me the illustration? Anyone? Anyone? Yes. Again, you are standing on top of a building and you're looking at the park at a distance. Okay? The angle of depression is 53 degrees. Alright? And the building is 100 feet tall. The question is, how far away is the park?
Ang quarter.
Yes, you are looking at the park. You're trying to... So what is the missing value? How far is the park? Which side are we looking at?
Sa park.
So, let's put X. Okay, very good. Let's give a hand to Riza. Okay, good. Alright. So again, here, you're standing on top of a building. This is the building. Very good, no? Because as much as possible, vivid ba lang ang classes ng picture. Okay? But if it's still draw, okay lang na triangle, but it's better. Okay? If you do it like this. Okay. So again, you're standing on top of the building. The angle of depression. Okay? The angle of depression is 53 degrees. Now, let's determine first which is our line of sight. Din ang ating line of sight, gani? Here, ari kita diri, right? This is our line of sight. Okay? Now, the angle of depression is 53 degrees. Where should we put the 53 degrees? Okay, this is the park.
Triangle.
Yes. Okay? So, angle of depression is here. Do you copy? Okay? This is our line of sight.
Ito ba connect ng ligan niya, ano, sir?
Natapos. Yes, yes, yes. Okay? So, this is our line of sight. Okay? Ari ka sa baba sa building. This is my line of sight. The angle that it makes from here going to the part that I'm looking at is 53 degrees. Okay? Now, that means from here to the part going above, that's 53 degrees also. Because as I've mentioned, angle of depression and angle of elevation are alternate interior. Okay? So we can say that this is 53 degrees. But if you wanted to use this side, okay, you know that this angle and this angle are complementary. They are forming right angle. Okay? So if this is 53, we can say that this part is 37 degrees. Because they form a complement, they are complementary, so they are 90 degrees, equal to 90. Now we can say, this is 37, this is 53. So we have two thetas here. But, mind you, that the best thing that you have to use is the given value on the problem. So again, if you were given the 53 degrees, that's the angle of depression, you know that your angle of elevation is also 53 degrees. That's from the part to you on top of the building. Okay? Now, we have 53 degrees, so we have our theta. Okay? Let's use this value. We have the opposite side. We are looking for adjacent. Right? So what should we use?
Sine.
Sine? Opposite kag adjacent ang given? Tangent. Okay? So we still use the tangent? Now, tangent theta again is equal to opposite over adjacent. Okay. Now, tangent, our theta is 53 degrees, right? So, tangent 53 is equal to opposite, which is how much? 100 feet divided by our missing side, which is x. Right? Now, to solve. Cross multiply, so we have x tangent 53 is equal to 100 feet. Do you follow? Any question? Okay. Now to solve for x tangent 53 divided by tangent 53. Okay? Is equal to 100 divided by tangent 53. Okay? So this is cancelled out. We only have the remaining value for x. So x is equal to 100 divided by tangent 53. What is the value? 75.35. Okay. 35. What's the next digit for 35?
Number 6.
36. Okay, so again, we have 75.36.
6.
And no, can you give me the value at least for
75.
75.3554?
4.
Okay, so 3554, that's equivalent to 36. Okay, so we can say 75.36. Remember, what's the measure? Feet. Okay, so again, approximately, the value is 75.36. That means, from the building, going to the park, the distance is 75.36. That is the distance. Okay? Now, let's try to use this given. Okay? let's try to use the 37 degrees. Let's try to solve it from U. Okay? Alright. Now, what if we use the 37 degrees? Okay? So, we have our theta, tangent. Theta equals opposite over adjacent. Okay. Now, if we have our theta here, what is our opposite side?
37.
Okay, tangent 37 equals, opposite side is?
100.
Opposite?
76.
Yes. The how we solve it is actually based on kung diin kita nga angle nagabase. Okay? So if we're basing from this angle, we can say 37, opposite side niya is?
75.36.
Okay, let's say, wala ta pa po ang value. Okay? Let's try to see if we can get the same value. Okay? So tangent 37 is opposite over adjacent. That is x over
150.
100. Okay? Now, solving for x, that's x cross multiply equals 100 times tangent 37. Now, can you give me the value? 100 times tangent 37. That is? Do we have the same value? Yeah. So, approximately, we have 75.36 feet. So, either way, you will get the same value. Right? Just remember, you have to determine as to which angle are you basing it. Okay? Because kung diin ka mag-theta, dira nagbabase, the opposite and the adjacent side differs. Okay? So for example, if you base it here, from the angle of elevation from the park, from the ground as your line of sight, you will have to consider your opposite side as the height of the building. Okay? And then the adjacent side, which is the distance. But if you're looking at the angle from the top, from here, which is your angle of depression from here, you will have to base your opposite side as the distance, and then the adjacent side is the height of the building. Okay? So again, remember kid, kung diin gani ang angle ng base ninyo, ang theta ninyo, dra ka mo base ang inyo opposite side and adjacent side. Alright? Okay, so we have it here. So as you can see, we both have the same value. Any questions? Okay, so that's great. Let's check your